Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal Mr. Butter coming back at you. I just got back from a little getaway. Me and Mrs. Butter went away for a couple of days, and whenever I returned, I had a big box on the front porch from Reebok. I'm pretty pumped about this pair of kicks. This was actually my last shoe purchase of 2021. The Reebok pump was one of my favorite shoes as a kid, and this is the Omni Zone 2. I thought this colorway looked interesting, and I decided to grab a hold of it. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's look at these Reebok pump Omni Zone 2s in the red, white, and blue colorway. Alright, so I don't need to spend a lot of time on this box because it's the same as we always get. It says pump it up on the top. There you see that pump emblem, represents that basketball on the tongue that you know, pump up to fill the shoe with air to give you that custom fit. And the tag reads pump Omni Zone 2 basketball. These were made in Vietnam. So the colors are footwear white, bright cobalt, and then I'll have to look at what the last one is. It's something red, VEC red. So it wouldn't be victory red. I don't know, vector red maybe? Whatever it stands for, it's red, white, and blue. I know that. I think these were about 140 or 150. I hurried up and bought these. These dropped on, it wasn't New Year's night. I think it was the night before. So I think they dropped at like 12 a.m. on the 31st. So it was actually like New Year's Eve morning, if that makes any sense. But I stayed up till midnight, and I actually set myself an alarm just because I didn't want to miss out on them. I was that pumped about them. And honestly, these are available everywhere right now. They're on Finish Line, they're on Foot Locker, and I think the price is around 140 or 150. I can't remember to be certain, I'd have to look. But the quality, you can tell right off the bat, is really, really good for that price point. And also the style, I think these things look great. I mean, a red, white, and blue color scheme on such an iconic retro shoe, I think these things came out beautifully. I had heard different sources of the inspiration about the colorway. I read on one post that it was just a patriotic themed colorway. And then actually some of my subscribers who have talked about this have referred to it as like the Spider-Man colorway. And I thought, okay, well, there's another Spider-Man movie, so that kind of makes sense as well. However, whenever I did some research into it, it looks like Reebok wanted to make this a nod to the Detroit Pistons, like the late 80s, early 90s Detroit Pistons, which would have been right about when, you know, the pumps were coming out. And that immediately reminds me of Isaiah Thomas. I mean, he was just one of the baddest people. Wasn't the biggest guy out there, but man, he was so good to watch. And I know him and Jordan had like a bit of a rivalry, as many did with Jordan back in that time. But Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, I think Bill Laimbeer was also on the team back then. But the Pistons were just a powerhouse. And I think they were even known as like the bad boys of basketball, something like that. That might not be exactly correct, but it was something like that. Something to do with just bad boys. And of course, everybody knows Dennis Rodman as the bad boy. That was before he went to the Bulls. But hearing that this is a nod to the retro Pistons teams from when I was a kid and from when I remember, that makes me like these even more, to be honest with you. You can immediately tell that the quality of the leather on these is really, really good. It's really nice, thick panels, and you get all kinds of ripples in it. It's very soft, but it also feels like it's a really good grade, like it'll just hold up for a long time. And even like the blue, it's not just the white leather on it. All the leather on this shoe is really, really premium in my opinion. I like to point little stuff like this out. I just noticed it has a little black line, like it almost looks like pencil or something right here. So I'll have to look if I can use like a magic eraser and get that out. That's not a deal breaker to me. That's nothing like huge or ruins the shoe. But even if it's a shoe that I like, that I think is really well done, I just like to be honest and point that kind of stuff out. So it's got a little imperfection there, little black line. I'm not sure what that's from, but I'll use some cleaner and see if I can get that out of there. I always like when even the outsole looks cool, and man, this deep blue or cobalt color, along with the herringbone pad up here being in that bright red, and then you've got like a pivot point which is like raised up from the rest of the shoe, and then back here around the hexalite, I think that's in white, and also the herringbone traction on the back is in white. But these pivot points up here and the lines coming off of that, that's in a gray color. But I think that outsole looks dope. I think that looks real cool. But then wrapping up at the base of the midsole, you can see some of those same colors, like the red, gray, and blue, and it just looks nice. And then you've got this white, this is like a rubber here in the front, but then in the back this is like the same type of foam. I don't know if this is EVA, I'm not sure what that is. I think that's what it is, but it's just like a foam cushioning. Feels just like other Omni Zone 2s, but I like the paint. The paint on it looks real neat, and you can see it's gray, and then there's another little white accent here on the back, and then here on the side. And I just think it looks real sharp. Definitely gives me that retro feel, and that's what I love about shoes. But then for the majority of the upper, well, really the whole upper, the whole base of the shoe is just this really, really nice, soft feeling and great looking. You can tell whenever you look at it, it's just premium material, but it's this nice, thick, bright white leather, and I mean, it is as soft as can be. So soft. And you have that for the base of the whole upper. You can see these nice perforations there on the toe box, and that's got a classic look to it. You can tell how thick the panels are here by looking at the edge of the mud guard, but it's just like a natural finish, and it's got white stitching going up the whole thing. Then there's areas of like this gray mesh, like here on the side, and that helps you get some ventilation, keep your foot from roasting. They are warm shoes. I've always thought the Reebok pumps were pretty warm shoes, but you've got these panels of mesh here on the side of gray, and then here in the back, you can feel that there's like a cup sole in there, but it's got this red looking mesh, and that's a nice little contrast there as well. We've got this nice leather, this blue color for the heel, and on that you can see the stitching that spells out hexalite, and that's of course this cushioning, which isn't the same as it used to be, but I just like that it reminds me of that from back in the day. And then you've got more of that gray mesh going up here along the collar of the shoe. You'll also see that gray mesh on the tongue, and then as you get to the top of the tongue, then you've got white leather, and on one side it says Reebok in red, and the other side it says basketball in that blue color. And then you've got that iconic pump button and the release, and the pumps do work on these shoes. I tried them out. You've also got these hard plastic hits that are that blue and red color, and they gave us some flat cobalt colored laces, and I think that looks nice. I think they'd look good with white laces too, but I don't know. They're definitely dope.